Why he picking on Boosie? Because I fight to get Marlo Mike out. He'll die in there. He went to go tell because he couldn't sleep at night. Boosie sleep good at night because he didn't pay him. That baby had 9 bodies. 15 years old. He paid $2,000 per hit. And people saying God on his side. You're a damn lie when he got a 15-year-old doing life in prison. And by the way, I helped work on that law to try to get this kid out. It's called JLY. I went to Washington, D.C. over 4 or 5 times. We got it abolished. But you know what? They didn't make it retroactive for the boy Boosie used. So that's why this is personal to me.
One of my other partners had got murdered. And Marlo Mike was on the scene. And the police was like, they couldn't take it no more because they didn't know if this young guy was that advanced to where like he was murdering shit while they was watching him, you know? So they went on and picked him up. But when they picked him up, they told him, my partner Tyree Gangsta Reeves, rest in peace. When he got killed, they picked Marlo up that same night. Just because that's where Marlo family was located at. And that's the people he was calling and he was talking to. So just so happened, he came over there and my partner got killed. So they went on and picked him up.
When you had a 15-year-old hitman, nigga, that murdered black people. Who next, Boosie? That little nigga had that tattooed on his chest. He killed so many black people for Boosie. Boosie Boo. The little kid got life without parole at 16 years old, my nigga. Juvenile life. A law that I fight to have abolished. A law that I fight personally, nigga, and work on with children in Angola. And little Boosie had a paid, hired hitman little boy that killed nobody but black people. Little Marlo Mike in the back itching for a body is what he said.
A 15-year-old boy, 9 deaths, and a secret that stayed hidden for years. Let that sink in for a moment. Before he could legally drive, before he could vote, and even before he finished high school, this teenager was allegedly connected to 9 murders in Baton Rouge. What makes it even more shocking is that he wasn't some hardened criminal or a gang leader. He was just a kid, barely old enough to grow a beard. Thrown into a world built for adults, where loyalty, power, and survival were everything. Even more disturbing is the contrast in outcomes. While this young boy ended up facing life behind bars, a rising rap star tied to the same environment stood trial and walked free. One life was locked away forever, while the other continued performing, making music, hosting parties, and building a public image. It raises the question, how does something like this happen? How does a 15-year-old become the center of one of Louisiana's most explosive murder cases? Who really influenced him? And why, after years of silence, is this story surfacing again? Because the truth is, this story isn't just about crime. It isn't only about street loyalty, and it isn't only about one teenager or one musician. It's about influence, manipulation, and a justice system that treats a child as if he were a fully grown adult. And now, after all these years, the quiet might be breaking. The same teenager who once stayed silent, the one accused of carrying out multiple killings for just a few $1,000s each, is reportedly ready to speak. If that happens, the way people see this case could completely change. To understand how this unfolded, we need to go back to Baton Rouge in the mid-2000s, a city where ambition, music, and street politics collided in ways nobody anticipated. Back then, Baton Rouge was tense, divided, and crowded. After Hurricane Katrina in 2005, thousands moved to the city, bringing new pressures. More people meant more conflicts over territory, and violent crime rates soared. Neighborhood rivalries were no longer minor disputes. They were active wars simmering just beneath the surface. Amid this chaos, rap music became one of the loudest voices in the city. That's when Boosie Badass, then known as Lil Boosie, began rising. He wasn't chasing fame just for the radio. He became a voice for the streets, signing records that reflected life in Baton Rouge with raw honesty. Songs like Zoom and Wipe Me Down weren't just club hits. They were anthems of survival, loyalty, and street reality. But success also brought problems. Attention attracted jealousy, and enemies formed quickly. The more his fame grew nationally, the more tension he faced at home. Old rivalries didn't disappear. They intensified. This environment was dangerous. Protection for someone like Boosie wasn't just about security guards, it was personal. Fame, money, and loyalty were intertwined with ongoing street conflicts. And in the middle of this, a 15-year-old boy was observing. He wasn't wealthy. He wasn't famous. He wasn't powerful. But he was about to be pulled into something far beyond his understanding. This boy's real name was Michael Louding, but in Baton Rouge, everyone called him Marlo Mike. At 15, most kids worry about school, friends, or weekend plans. Their brains aren't fully developed. Scientists say the area responsible for judgment and impulse control doesn't mature until around age 25. But Marlo Mike grew up in an environment where childhood ended early. Street politics were real, visible, and dangerous. Successful figures like rising rappers commanded respect and often loyalty. For a teenager, admiration could quickly turn into obedience. Influence at that age felt like purpose, like protection, like survival. Court records later revealed that Marlo Mike allegedly carried out multiple shootings between 2009 and 2010. Investigators claimed he was paid about $2,000 per killing. To an adult, that might seem small. To a struggling teenager, it was a lot, enough for sneakers, clothes, helping family, and earning respect from peers. By the time he was 16, he was allegedly tied to 9 deaths. 9. He wasn't driving, voting, or legally employed, yet he was navigating situations that many adults could not survive. The cases were described as calculated, organized, and connected to ongoing conflicts. Prosecutors said these weren't impulsive acts. They were targeted hits, executed with strategy and precision. One high-profile killing involved a man named Terry Boyd in October 2009. Authorities alleged this was one of several linked events showing the teenager's role as an enforcer within a broader conflict. Questions quickly emerged. Was he acting alone? Was he trying to prove himself? Or was he influenced by older, more experienced figures who stood to gain from his actions? In high-stakes situations, the youngest person often carries the heaviest burden. Then something unexpected happened. Before investigators could fully build their case, Marlo Mike walked into a police station. He didn't wait for a dramatic raid or arrest. According to reports, he voluntarily gave a statement, confessing to multiple killings and tying himself to events that had shocked the nation. A teenager, facing charges for crimes most adults couldn't even imagine, had finally spoken. The decision shocked both the streets and law enforcement. In communities where silence often means survival, speaking out is almost unheard of. So why would a 15-year-old break that code? People have different ideas. Some say the pressure became too much. Others think fear caught up with him. Some believe guilt weighed heavily, while others suggest he hoped cooperating might reduce his punishment. Whatever the reason, once he talked, everything changed almost instantly. Investigators suddenly had details they could follow, statements to build a timeline, and a story they could connect. Phone records, payments, and alleged accomplices began to form a clearer picture. In street culture, confession equals betrayal. The label snitch spreads fast. Loyalty is everything. But this wasn't an adult with years of experience in that world. This was a young teenager, facing the reality of what he had allegedly done and what it could mean for his future. Teenagers experience fear differently than adults. Their brains prioritize emotion over logic. When the consequences become real, prison, life sentences, or permanent separation from family, panic can take over. Once Marlo Mike's confession became public, Baton Rouge split. Some people said he violated the code of the streets. Others argued he was just a child overwhelmed by forces he didn't fully understand. Once you admit involvement in multiple killings, there's no turning back. The justice system reacts quickly. Charges increased, indictments followed, and the focus expanded beyond the teenager himself. Investigators began asking bigger questions. If a 15-year-old allegedly carried out multiple targeted killings, who else stood to gain? That's when one of Louisiana's top rap stars found himself in court, fighting for his freedom, while the teenager who had confessed faced a completely different reality. When the indictments dropped, Baton Rouge felt the shift. This wasn't just a local street case anymore. It involved nationally recognized figures. Media attention exploded. News vans crowded the courthouse, blogs and headlines ran daily updates. What began as neighborhood violence turned into a courtroom spectacle. Boosie Badass faced charges linked to multiple murders, including the 2009 death of Terry Boyd. Prosecutors claimed he orchestrated killings while continuing his music career, living a double life, one on stage, one in the streets. Conviction could have meant the death penalty. The prosecution relied heavily on statements, including Marlo Mike's confession, and argued for a pattern of coordination and motive. They suggested the teenager wasn't acting alone. The defense fought back, challenging witness credibility and highlighting inconsistencies. They argued no concrete evidence directly tied the rapper to planning any murders. In criminal court, reasonable doubt is everything, and jurors must acquit if convinced even slightly otherwise. After weeks of testimony, the verdict came in 2012. Not guilty. Boosie walked free. Supporters celebrated, while critics questioned the decision. Baton Rouge buzzed with debates for years. Meanwhile, Marlo Mike faced a starkly different future. Just turned 16, he received a life sentence without parole. No release date, no second chance hearing. Just a cell until death. He was sent to Louisiana State Penitentiary, also known as Angola, one of the largest maximum security prisons in the country. At the time, Louisiana was among the strictest states for juvenile sentencing. Over 2,000 minors nationwide were serving life without parole for crimes committed as teenagers. The law considers some crimes too serious to allow age as a defense, but science was beginning to challenge that approach. Neurologists had shown the part of the brain controlling impulse, judgment, and planning doesn't fully develop until the mid-20s. That meant Marlo Mike didn't process decisions the same way an adult would. The Supreme Court changed the conversation in 2012 with Miller v. Alabama, ruling mandatory life without parole for juveniles violated the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. Judges had to consider age, background, and potential for growth before imposing such harsh sentences. Later, Montgomery v. Louisiana in 2016 made this retroactive, offering hope for minors already serving life. Some saw reduced sentences or parole eligibility, while others remained trapped in legal uncertainty. Advocates, commentators, and activists like Charleston White began speaking out. He argued that Marlo Mike's case highlighted a broken system. A teenager allegedly manipulated, facing life in prison, while adults connected to the same environment moved freely. White's voice amplified debates about influence, loyalty, and survival in high-risk communities. For many, the story isn't just about one rapper or one teen. It reflects a pattern: powerful adults, young people seeking belonging, and the harsh consequences when influence, admiration, and loyalty collide. At the center remains the same reality: a teenager condemned to life, a famous rapper free, and a city still divided. Should minors spend decades behind bars? Can influence reduce responsibility? Can someone who committed serious acts at 15 ever truly change? The courts made their choice, but the questions continue.